You're probably wondering, how am I going to soundproof my bedroom door for $20? Because let's face it, it's a bedroom door and sometimes there can be some noises that can escape it that you don't want the rest of the house to hear. So we'll be soundproofing this door, and I went to the hardware store trying to find items that I can use that are below $20 and that actually reduces the noise. What we'll do, we'll prove it with a decibel meter to find out if our little $20 purchases to soundproof this door actually works and if it's worth it. What people don't know is most of the noise will be creeping out wherever you see light. Anywhere that you see cracks around this door, noise will also flow through if you see lighting come through. As you can see, this door is not sealed very good. So that's what you want to do. You want to get rid of those light bleeds. If you can get rid of that, you can get rid of some of the noise that's creeping through. The first thing that you'll want to see is if this piece right here, the small door jamb around the door, if this piece is tight or if you see light bleed coming through. If you see light bleed coming through this piece, you'll need to tighten that up, fasten that tighter onto the wall. But before we begin our little project, we'll take a sound test to see how much noise goes through. All right, let's put some royalty-free music so I don't get copyright claimed. So basically it's between 43 to 48 decibels. Let's see if we can reduce that amount for 20 bucks. So U-shaped door sweep, it comes as, basically it's universal. So it should fit your door and then you just measure it and you cut it. All right, so let's slide this in. Shoot, I forgot this freaking thing. This won't work, this will not work. Take that off to reinstall it. Now this is much better. Oh my God. Now that you have the door sweep installed, you just mark where you need to cut it. And do that on both sides, just in case you screw up real bad. So all you need to do to cut it to size is just use some scissors. As you can see, I already did this, but I'm just perfecting it now. The plastic is very thin, but still pretty rigid. Slide that in and it should be a perfect fit for your door. A door sweep like this will also work, but this one does work better. All right, so now that we have that installed, we can check out and see how much just a door sweep reduce noise, because these door sweeps are under $20. These ones are even cheaper. So if your budget is very limited, then this one would also work. Only difference between this one and that one, this is not a U shape, and you just also universal sizing. You just put it under and you attach it. So this one is more permanent. This one, slide it out if the air handling unit can't handle it. Put that on the other side and see if there's any improvement. Between 40 and 44. Let's see if we can reduce that even more by one more thing. Less than $10 item. You can get weather strip that is, well, this one I believe was around $10. One thing you have to do before you install the weather strip is simple, but it's something that even I have forgotten in the past and then wonder, why is the weather strip not sticking? And I've had comments also in the past, why is the weather strip that you recommended not sticking? Reason for that is, well, just touch around. It's full of dust. This self-adhesive is not going to stick to dust. So one thing that you need to do is clean it and also make sure that it is completely dry. We just want it clean enough so the adhesive sticks. Now the weather strip that you should use for this exercise is thin weather strip that is easily squishy, because if you get a weather strip that doesn't squish very easily, then closing the door might be a challenge because it might just be too tight to close. Another thing is that you don't want it too wide. Now this width is perfect for that section. And I'll have links in the description below of everything I talk about in this video to make it a lot easier so you don't have to go look for sizing, and you just roll it down, get it all the way down to the floor. And then bring it down. And as I said, this weather strip fits perfectly for an interior door. And this foam, as you can see, is pretty squishy, so it will seal that small gap without impeding you from closing the door. For $20, if we can get rid of a few decibels. Now, they say that if you reduce the noise by just 3 decibels, you're essentially reducing the amount of energy of the noise in half. So that's quite significant, because a lot of the times you might think just 1 or 2 decibels, it doesn't really make a difference. Where the biggest difference is noticeable is when you reduce the amount of decibels by 10. If you can reduce the amount of decibels by 10, it's the equivalent of reducing the amount of noise that your ears can hear by half. So every 10 decibels, you're essentially reducing the noise in half. So when we talk about soundproofing, you just have to realize that we're not going to get rid of all of the noise, but at least if we can get rid of some of the noise to make it, or some of the noise that goes out of the room in this case, at least it makes a little bit or a significant difference depending on where you stop, because this is soundproofing a door for $20. So we're not going to do too much, but this is still something that you can do, especially if you live in a rental where this weather strip, I doubt very much that they would care if you leave it there, but the door sweep, bring it with you wherever you go and you can reuse it in your next dwelling. So now we'll do another sound test just to see if there is a significant difference. Now we'll grab our decibel meter. Well, as you can see, just that thin layer of weather strip, which wasn't very expensive and is not that thick, as you could see, it's very spongy. So you're able to close the door a lot easier. We saw the decibel reading go into the 30s, 39, 38. That's something that we didn't see earlier. So you did see a reduction in noise from now 38, 39 to 42, 43. So that's quite a difference in noise reduction when you seal the bottom door gap and around the door. And as you can hear, it is quite loud. So it does make a difference. There are, of course, many other things that you can do to soundproof the door a lot more effectively. But before you do any of those extra things, like replace this door with another thicker door, or I guess denser door, try this first, because you still, even if you do change a hollow core door, now this is a hollow door, like most interior doors, you hit it and it's kind of hollow. You can switch that out for a solid core door. So basically all that means is, so inside this hollow door, it's essentially a honeycomb shaped piece of cardboard that just makes it so these pieces of really thin wood stays together. It doesn't go in, it just stays more stable. A solid core door, however, the entire door, it's not solid wood. That is even better and a lot more expensive than a solid core door. It's basically compact sawdust. So it is denser. There's no holes in the door. There's no gaps. It's completely solid from top to bottom, a solid core door. And the thing is, it doesn't cost that much more than a hollow core door, about double the price, and you can have a door, a solid door, look exactly the same as your hollow core door, and you won't even notice that it's a different door if you have a bunch of the same doors in the hallway. But even if you do change the door from a hollow to a solid core door, you still should put a door sweep and some weather strip around the casing. If you have an inch gap underneath the door, yeah, a lot of noise is coming through that gap. So it's not a huge shock that, well, not a huge shock to me, then by just installing a door sweep, you're cutting the noise by a handful of decibels. And let me know in the comment section below if you've done this, if it worked. If you have any soundproofing questions, just let me know. I also have a membership section. If you do send me a message and I don't get to you, there's a lot of people sending me questions and comments. Just sign up to my membership. If you want many more ways on how to soundproof this door that requires more money and perhaps a little bit more than just DIY, which a lot of stuff for soundproofing a door is DIY. Video right here will show you a bunch of different ways, including the two that I talked about today, but it goes way beyond that. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, assuming you subscribed.